Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Sit Down. This is our mock draft edition, part two. This is our big board right here. This is where we're going to be drafting. But first, let me introduce who's here with me today. We have Nate Martin, Kieran Costa, and I'm Sunny Sagani here to do this mock draft. So on the left side of the screen, you see the big board per tankathon. Some players have still been taken in the mock draft we did last time, part one, which was the first through 16th picks. Oh, we did this before the big trade from the Panthers, where the Panthers traded for Sam Darnold. So obviously now they're not going to take the quarterback, but still, it should be noted that the rest of the picks are still in line. Everything is good to go. So please like, subscribe, and tell us what you think about our mock draft. Comment if you disagree, which you most likely will. All right, Nate, let's get to it.
Yeah, 17th in the pick in the draft belongs to the Las Vegas Raiders. Kieran will be making the pick for them.
The Raiders have an atrocious defense we saw last year. So I think they go linebacker. They go Micah Parsons here at 17. I think linebacker is obviously one of their key needs. And the Penn State linebacker, the obvious choice.
18th pick in the draft belongs to the Miami Dolphins, and Sine will be making the pick for them.
Yeah, I like the pick of Micah Parsons. I don't usually like to do this in the first round. Caleb Farley's still on the board. Queedy Pay's still on the board. Christian Darrisaw.
Caleb Farley got taken.
Caleb Farley's off the board, but Christian Darrisaw is a good line. He's on the board. But I'm going to go with Najee Harris. I don't like running backs in the first round, but it's Tua. You're building all around Tua. They have a hole at running back. There it is.
I'm going to be sticking with Alabama at the 19th pick for the Washington football team and taking Mac Jones.
Hey.
I think he's gonna go in the top 10, but it's just the way the mock is played out. And he's gonna be looking to.
You think Taylor Heineke, Fitzpatrick, Mac Jones are all battling for the job come training camp?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a three-way battle, and I think Fitzpatrick's gonna win it at the beginning of week one. But I would not be surprised if he gets overtaken by another Alabama rookie for the second year in a row.
So you think Taylor Heineke is just sort of out of the equation?
Yeah, I think
Taylor had his one game and now he's done.
Yeah, it's just one game.
We've seen those magical playoff games from quarterbacks before, and none of his quarterbacks pan out. So, next pick, the 20th pick in the draft, belongs to the Chicago Bears, and Kieran will be making that pick.
With the 20th pick, the Bears need some offensive weapons for, I guess, Andy Dalton. Now, I would say a tight end, knowing Ryan Pace loves his tight ends, but I'm going to go Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. I think he's the best wide receiver on the board at 20. The Bears, other than Allen Robinson, it's like Anthony Miller, maybe. Mooney has a bright future, but I think they go Bateman here and add another young wide receiver to that offense.
Another receiver with some good height to him, 6'1", lining up with another tall receiver in Allen Robinson. I like that pick. So now you're picking 21st for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, you got a new quarterback in town, Carson Wentz. I'm racing this pick in if I'm Chris Ballard, GM of the Colts. Christian Darrisaw, you have a big hole at left tackle. Go ahead and get him, and this is a great value. Like I said, dream scenario.
Darrisaw goes to the Colts. I'm picking here 22 for the Tennessee Titans. And if I'm them, I think you need some cornerback help right here. You just lost Adoree Jackson to the Giants, and I can't name you one other corner on that roster. I'm sorry. So I'm saying you're going to take a cornerback here. It's just a question of which one you like. And, I personally really like a couple guys on the board right now. But I'm going to take Eric Stokes, the Georgia quarterback, good zone corner. He can line up for you on the outside. Greg Newsome was another option, but I think he hasn't played a full season of college football. If he can't play a full season college football, we don't know if he's going to play a full 17 games now, excuse me. So I'm taking Eric Stokes, the cornerback out of Georgia. Kieran's going to be picking 23rd here for the New York Jets. The pick was originally Seattle's, but it was traded to the Jets from the Jamal Adams trade.
I think the Jets are another team that need wide receiver help, right? They added Corey Davis maybe is the best wide receiver. Jamison
Yeah.
Crowder. That's another team. And I think here, if they go wide receiver, I want them to go Rondell Moore out of Purdue. I'm super high on this kid. I like him going to the Jets at 23 to bolster another tough offense for one of the teams I draft for.
Interesting pick right there. Rondell Moore, only 5'9". Can that size line up in the NFL? We'll have to see. 24, Pittsburgh. Sine's picking for them.
Yeah, I think ideally, if I knew Washington was selecting Mac Jones, I would have liked to jump them and pick Mac Jones. Ben Roethlisberger's time is running out, but I guess they're going to try to maximize and go out and get anything they can. They lost Bud Dupree in the offseason. I'm going to go Jalen Phillips out of Miami, edge rusher. He kind of fits them a little bit. He's bigger, probably may not be the best fit for that 3-4 defense, but he had a great pro day, and I'm buying Jalen Phillips.
A lot of upside with the edge out of Miami. I'm picking here for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm saying you take the third best offensive lineman in the draft in Tevin Jenkins. I really like this kid. He was an absolute monster at Oklahoma State. He's one of the scariest players in the draft. And I'm going to be having Urban Meyer take the offensive lineman out of Oklahoma State. Kieran's picking 26 for the Cleveland Browns.
I think Cleveland, there's a few places they could go here. I'd say it's either cornerback, maybe not the best on their depth chart, or you could go Samuel Cosme for the offensive line. But I think they go Greg Newsome, cornerback from Northwestern here. It's not a great secondary in Cleveland. They could use some help.
Greg Newsome, the second, taken by the Cleveland Browns, keeping him in the Midwest. Sine, you're picking 27th here for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so do I really trust the Ravens to pick a wide receiver and finally get Lamar Jackson some help? They have a chance here to get the human joystick, Kadarius Toney, or go out and get Terrace Marshall Jr., who is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated wide receivers in this class. I'm crossing my fingers and saying they don't get Terrace Marshall Jr., but most likely it will be that. If they fall in love with the X receiver, they also got Sammy Watkins. So I'm going to say they go Kadarius Toney here and keep it safe. He's a speed guy, nice guy for Lamar Jackson.
Another guy I could see Baltimore taking right there, if that was the case, was Elijah Moore, the receiver out of Ole Miss. Another great slot player, similar in the mold to Kadarius Toney. I'm picking 28 here for the New Orleans Saints. And there's a lot of ways that New Orleans can go here. They need corner. They need receiver. And I think I'm going to have them take a... Yeah, this is a tough pick for me. I think there's a lot of ways they can go with this. But I'm going to have them take... Actually, yeah, I'll have them take Terrace Marshall Jr., I think they're going to want to build up their receiving corps, need to find someone that can go along with Michael Thomas for the future. And you got three great pass catchers on that team with Thomas, Marshall, and Kamara. Green Bay 29 might have stolen Kieran's pick there. Who knows? He's picking for the Packers.
I'm going to go secondary for Green Bay. I mean, you saw the secondary struggle against Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game. And if you look at the board on the left, I'm going to go with safety Trevon Moehrig from TCU. Secondary needs help in Green Bay. The offense, they can grab maybe someone in the later round. The offense isn't terrible. I say Trevon Moehrig goes here to Green Bay.
Buffalo, pick 30. Sine's picking for the Bills Mafia.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are three guys on here that I still would not expect to be here. And that's Kwity Paye, number 16th on the board. First of all, I'm hearing he'd go top 10. So that's excellent value. I guess he slid on the radar for us because I actually didn't even realize he was on the board. Second guy is Sam Cosme. And third guy is Aziz Ojulari, edge out of Georgia. I'm going Quiddy Pay just because of the talent and the fact that he's a top 10 player. I feel like Bills Mafia are walking away with a potential great run stopper for that defense. It may not be a need, but I think you just take the talent there.
So here at pick 31 for the Kansas City Chiefs, who lost in the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers, it's between two options for me. It's either between Jamin Davis, the linebacker out of Kentucky, who's been rising up a lot of people's boards recently, extremely underrated, can do it all. And, that was originally kind of what I was leaning here. But now I think I'm going to take Samuel Cosmi, the offensive tackle out of Texas. We saw how much pressure the Buccaneers brought to Patrick Mahomes, albeit to a backup offensive line, but they lost both of their tackles in free agency. I think they released both of them. So you got to replace them. Samuel Cosmi, great place to start out of the Longhorns. And finally, last pick in the draft belongs to Kieran Costa, picking for the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers.
I think someone who, in all of my research, I saw him going in the first round, and I think he will. The last pick, Asante Samuel Jr. goes to the Buccaneers. They grab the cornerback from Florida State University to round out the first round Super Bowl champs, add another cornerback to the already stacked team.
I think cornerback in this year's draft class is so interesting. I've looked at a ton of different rankings, right? And everyone has them differently. Like, you can go any way in this draft and people are going to say you're wrong with the cornerback position.
Yeah, right on. And guys, we have, just under 7 minutes here. So let's take this conversation to where Nate took it. I see 7 cornerbacks or 7 defensive backs, if I'm not mistaken, being picked. That could be a reality. 2 in the top 12, Caleb Farley, and then so many more. But how about this? This is what I was surprised for, as of who's left on the board. Zaven Collins, linebacker. Great player. Gregory Rousseau, Azeez Ojulari. That is some good talent. On the board.
I just assumed he was taken in their first.
Yeah, Zaven Collins is an interesting one. What else? A lot of offensive line and as well. Yeah, I think draft day is gonna be super interesting. I just think it could have gone a lot differently if we did this after we saw how much praise Mac Jones has been getting after his pro day. Because I wouldn't be surprised if one of us took him in like the top 5.
Yeah, so then I guess let me ask you guys this. Which team out of these 32, remember, we only did one trade. We could have, I will note that the last 16, there are a lot of trades that happen. So this is like by no means normal because there's just going to be teams flipping all over. But which team got the best value in this mock draft? It's a question you might have to think about a little bit, but I think it's an important question.
I think it's Kyle Pitts at 11. I think Kyle Pitts is the second best player in this draft.
That is true.
Trevor Lawrence. I think him at 11 is a steal of maybe the last 5 drafts, not just this one. There's no way Kyle Pitts drops.
No, yeah. I'm looking at this mock draft and I'm just like,
he's not getting past the Cowboys at the latest.
Let's redo this.
He's not. I think realistically it's going to be 6 at Miami.
Yeah.
If not 4 to Atlanta, but
yeah.
Atlanta wants to trade it though, right?
I think
3 options.
Good value here as well as 19 Mac Jones. I mean,
I agree.
As much as people love to hate on the guy, like, he is still a really, really good quarterback prospect. And he, like, in the last couple drafts, like, we've seen a lot of really talented QB classes, but he probably would have ranked 2 or 3 in some of the other classes and not 5 as we have him on this board right here. And I mean, I don't want to say this as a Niners fan, but he could easily go 3 to San Francisco. I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Denver would trade up to take Mac Jones, or, maybe Belichick gets Brady 2.0.
You don't think he drops to 9? But let's say the Niners don't take him. You don't think he drops to the Broncos?
The way I see it playing out is I see Trevor Lawrence 1, Wilson 2, Fields 3, and then I don't think he'd fall. Maybe he could fall to 9. That's the interesting predicament, though.
Because other than the
Falcons would probably
Falcons,
take-
he's not going to be taken.
Falcons would probably take the Pitts then. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. So he probably
And
would.
then he
fall to
drops to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a free fall from 5 to 8 now because of the trade made by the Carolina Panthers. Like after 4, no one's going to take
A quarterback.
a quarterback. So if you're Denver and you want a quarterback, you don't essentially need to
That's
trade up to
true.
4 to get Mac Jones.
Maybe a team like the Vikings would want to trade up and try and get, Kirk Cousins replacement. Maybe the Patriots, Washington, Chicago. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of teams that could easily trade up to take a quarterback.
Yeah, Chicago wants in on that 4 spot. Chicago, Patriots, and the Broncos. I think eventually the Broncos will not make a move.
Mhm.
That's what my gut feeling is. And it also, to answer my question, in terms of value, I also think Michael Parsons at 17, his value is a top 10, but it's just character issues that makes him slide. So if John Gruden can get him right, I think that's a good value pick. It'll help that defense a lot.
I also think that, Caleb Farley at 15, I mean, you're taking a lot of it's another guy for a lot of upside. It's just instead of character issues, it's injuries. I mean, this is a guy that I had as my number 1 corner in the draft for a long, long, long time until, a lot of this stuff about injuries has became a little bit more of a concern, that we know that he was fighting for injuries all of 2020 and all of 2019. It's a little concerning, yet kind of encouraging that a guy who's played that well was not even playing at 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And some teams have allegedly taken him off their draft board. So a lot of interesting different scenarios that we'll get into. About 2 weeks left, 2 to 3 weeks left till the draft. I'm sure we'll get to do another mock draft soon because we have to, especially in that top 12, which is so interesting. And pending any other trades, we'll see. But that is really it for our full mock draft. This is volume 1. We'll make some additions. We'll
1.0.
change things around.
1.0.
Yeah, 1.0. We'll be back. But if you disagree, please comment. We'd be happy to debate it down there. And as always, for Nate Martin, Kieran Costa, I'm Sine Singani signing off for Sports at Down.